Welcome back to Fold in the Cheese. It is your boy K-Troll on the mic today. We are doing a divisional round recap from the playoffs. We had some tight games this weekend. And I'm joined today, fittingly, by the John Madden to my Pat Summerall.
Defensive backs usually don't have nice personalities. And linebackers don't either. I mean, linebackers, they're all half goofy. They got their eyes, staring and looking and crossed. And now the nice guys are like this guy here, Jason Garrett.
He could be a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, third quarterback, wears a cap, went to Princeton.
Should be in politics.
Has all those things going for him. These guys like this guy here, Charles Haley, nope.
I gave you Madden. Ethan Gelfand.
First of all, I like you say I gave you Madden. It's not like Pat Summerall is a slouch by any means. I love me some Pat Summerall.
He's not a slouch, but Madden is a true
person.
icon.
Well, yeah, but Pat Summerall had an iconic voice, and it's Madden and Summerall. That's how you knew him. It's Madden and Summerall. But yes. Yeah. And it's a video game. We don't have a Summerall 25 that you're going to be playing in a couple of years, so it's true.
True.
So I appreciate it. But then it's almost kind of blasphemous that then I'm wearing this 49ers jersey because obviously it's the wrong team in the Bay, wrong Bay.
Yeah.
So Oakland, or was he the LA Raiders?
They were LA back when he was there.
As I say, he was the LA Raiders. So
again,
still the wrong Bay, but yeah.
Wrong Bay, wrong team in California, nonetheless,
yes.
for him. But yeah, he called probably some pretty iconic Steve Young 49ers games.
He did.
And Montana. He I watched there was a documentary on him right before he passed. It was really good. It walked through his career. And I guess I didn't realize because I was a kid when it happened, but I didn't realize that he won the Super Bowl with the Raiders and then basically was like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to do something that, have more time for my family and all that. He gets into broadcasting. And it's like
classic
hit,
the classic leave on top. The Costanza moves like, all right, I'm out.
And I'm out.
Great.
Yeah, it was a classic move. He obviously the announcing thing was an even bigger hit for him, I'd say, despite winning a Super Bowl as a coach. He was even more iconic as an announcer, And so just incredible journey. Talked about the video game a lot. I mean, just really larger than life, man. He was larger than life.
He was a big man too. So yes,
he's a big guy too. Yes,
but I wonder, was he the one? He was always drawing stuff on the screen. Was that really a big thing prior to him? Because I just feel like that was always his. It was like, oh, John Madden, who's going to be drawing all this stuff.
No, I think the technology. First off, I think the technology came out while he was doing it. But I also think there was. It was more natural for him because he was a coach anyway. And
right, so he's drawing the plays.
On the whiteboards, he's doing that, and on film, he's probably trying to do that. So it made sense anyway. But yeah, he went crazy with it. He was like, oh, and then over here, and he's gonna squiggle over here, and he's gonna take off here.
He's gonna squiggle over here.
yeah,
squiggle.
Like a Bob Ross painting by the end. You're like, oh my god, what happened?
I feel like Pat Summerall too is just kind of like his calming force. Because Madden is like a very excitable guy.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to talk about it. All right, well, back to the game, John. And here we go, John Elway coming down the field. They've already scored, but you've been talking this whole time. But anyway, continue.
I don't know how we got on that 30-minute tangent, but anyway, there have been 74 plays since then.
And the game's over. Thanks for tuning in.
Over. Thank you, John.
This was Fox.
Yeah, they were a great combo for that reason, I think, because Summerall was like the consummate professional, the true, Walter Cronkite type voice that is iconic for what he does. And then Madden's in here, like the original and the all-time color guy, just like the absolute best. So
true. I do also
incredible.
like that, John Madden was deathly afraid of flying, so he always traveled by bus. No matter what, he traveled by bus. Anytime they had a game to commentate on, get on the Madden bus.
Yep. That was a big part of the documentary too, was talking about the bus and the different stories. I mean, you can imagine the stories he's got from people like rock stars and people that jump on and hang out for a day or two and then drop
on the
Madden
bus.
I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy, but
we need to get a bus. The Pool Boys bus, just going from town to town.
We should take this thing on the road, and we would definitely get a Pool Boys bus that would have a pool at the top, like one of those double-decker buses that tour buses, and we'd have a pool up there, obviously.
That was just a given, but anyway.
We'd be in our mankinis, rocking that thing.
Can we not use that word? This makes me shudder.
It's kind of a gross word.
It is just. What's your take on the word moist? Is that a weird word?
I'm indifferent on moist. Doesn't bother me.
Does not bother me at all. I don't get it. Why is it like? Ooh.
Yeah, people really hate that. I'm really not one of those people.
Yeah, neither am I.
Yeah, I just think eating ribs and chicken wings and getting a moist palate afterward.
You think of the moist. I like it. You went from it's eating ribs and chicken wings because of the moist towelette. So moist and chicken wings go together.
Yes.
Fair. All right. What are your thoughts? Okay. What's your worst cringy noise?
Well, currently I have a new dog whose bark is this really screechy, high pitched bark thing.
Skip's bark is high pitched and screechy.
Skip, it sounds like a seal. He's like, it's like really, really. I mean, just nails on the chalkboard, kind of just like, oh gosh. So that was up there for me.
The seal bark. Okay, the seal bark. Mine is a nail file.
Oh yeah.
Not that I do it, but like my wife, or any other person, if I hear them, like, oh God, no, stop. So bad.
I don't know that I've got I don't know that I've got one of those. I guess mine's like chainsaw ripping through bone is kind of like a.
First of all, so specific. Like, okay, I was like, chainsaw. Interesting. Why ripping through
human bone?
When does that happen?
Yeah,
when was the last time you heard a chainsaw ripping through bone?
When people have a lot of human bones hanging in their house and they use them like wind chimes, that's kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Because that's a murder house? That would be the heebie-jeebie part.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The old murder house. Yeah, it gives me the heebie-jeebies every time I walk by. Well, maybe because of all the murders, not just the sound of.
Because of the murdering.
It's the murders.
It's really just the sound of the bones clinking together. No, I don't know that I have a sound like that. I don't know. I'd have to think on that one.
Okay. I'll just be doing random noises throughout the episode to see what gets you. Like, oh, there it was. Just rubbing fabric.
I'm just gonna do a little filing over here. No big deal.
Ripping paper.
Rip a post-it note. Oh God! Oh, make it stop.
That's my kryptonite.
Yeah, nothing like that. I see you are appropriately dressed with the 49ers swag today. You've got that Steve Young jersey. Of all the jerseys I have, I don't have a single remaining team a representing jersey. So I'm going with the blue today.
The blah. Well, I mean, I only have Patriots and Niners, so one didn't even make the playoffs, and I guess I got the big horse.
Pretty safe bet, though. I mean, combined, they've got like
11
or 12 Super Bowls. I mean, it's a lot. So pretty safe bet that they've won. That's what they've won. How about that they've been in? I mean,
so Joe Montana was perfect in Super Bowls.
4-0. Steve Young won
1-0. So they're 5-0, but then they lost.
Kaepernick lost
to the Ravens, and then they lost to the Chiefs. So 5-2.
Yep. Patriots were 6-3.
6-3.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because
it's 11-5. 16 Giants. Super Bowls were between those two teams.
Giants, Eagles. Ugh, NFC East.
NFC East. Kryptonite. Speaking of Kryptonite, there it is.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Well, all three of those games should have been won by the Patriots, but so dumb.
They were all three ridiculous. How they lost, you know?
Yeah. David Tyree, helmet catch. By the way, that was his last catch of his career. Do you know that? Of his career. Like he played.
I knew that because I watched the Brady, the Man in the Arena documentary.
I need to finish that.
Which is also very good. But yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good.
What was the second one? It was just a bad game. It was gross.
Yeah, the second Giants game, I don't remember what it was.
Well, I guess you could say it was the I think it was Mario Manningham had a catch on the sideline.
Yep.
To extend the drive, and then they ended up scoring. So I think it was that.
I think I remember that happening and then being like, is this the David Tyree catch?
I think I said that as I was watching, like, freaking David Tyree catch. Here it is.
It was a crazy catch.
Well, and that's why I got super nervous in the Seahawks Super Bowl when we're up. And I don't remember who caught it on the sideline. I think it was Baldwin.
Probably Dougie Fresh.
Baldwin caught it on the sideline. I was like, oh, because it was like bobbling, and it was like, it's happening all over again. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Yep. So there you go. I think the Philly special, obviously, with the Eagles.
That one was just so weird because there was 0 punts, or like we punted once, they punted maybe once, and that was defensive guru Matt Patricia's best defense. Anyway, glad we got a new offensive coordinator. Hooray, Bill O'Brien's back.
How do you feel about Bill O'Brien coming back?
I'm ecstatic.
All roads lead back to the Patriots.
Ecstatic about Bill O'Brien. First of all, loved him during his time at Penn State when I was there. He was a breath of fresh air. And also just
he was the guy who volunteered to take over the program after the whole Sandusky.
After everything, he came in. Like they went down to their 10th choice, and Bill O'Brien's like, "Yeah, okay,
he's like, I'll do it. I want to be a head coach at some point."
He did a spectacular job. Not only, I mean, so they went 8-5 their first year, which ungodly considering all the mass transfers and all that. But mainly I think just his presence and the way he spoke and just held the department together. It was pretty impressive what he was able to do.
Yeah.
But on the professional side, I loved him because one, he challenged Brady. That's that classic clip of him and Brady just going at it on the sideline. They were playing like the Redskins at the time and they were winning, but they didn't see eye to eye and they were just giving it to each other. And Bill O'Brien wasn't backing down. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, you listen to my play calls or something like that. He wasn't the OC. He was just the quarterback's coach at the time. But yeah, I like it. I'm a big fan. And let's be honest, anything's better than Patricia. The fact that also he has some experience with Mac Jones because he was the OC in Alabama when Mac was there for a year. So
he was like an offensive
assistant
coordinator, like not a coordinator, but like special assistant or whatever he was.
Yeah, what is it? It's a correspondent kind of thing.
Yeah, they have such weird names for Alabama hires. Every NFL coach who's currently unemployed, they join the Alabama staff as like an assistant,
basically. So yes, he has a little bit of experience with Mac. So no, I'm ecstatic that Bill O'Brien is back.
Okay. So then, if we stay in that Patriots realm, what do you make of the rumors or the people trying to figure out where Brady's going to go? If he goes anywhere, is he retired? Is he going to Vegas with Josh McDaniels? Like, what's going to happen?
I mean, he ain't going to New England. That would just be kind of. I mean, would it be storybook-esque? Not really, because then you're benching Mac Jones. That'll just crush him. I guess you got to trade him, but then you're going to get Brady for a year. It's not a good move for the Patriots. Like if you do where he's going to retire, you sign him for that 1-day contract. Yeah, he's a Patriot.
Yeah, sure.
But to bring him back, I would love to bring him back, but it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, and especially it's not like he has weapons here, so that wouldn't it would definitely be an upgrade over Mac Jones. It would for the very 1 year we have him, but is he going to get that much more done? Is the question. Look at all the weapons he had in Tampa, and they couldn't get it done.
There's something wrong there, man. There's something wrong there.
So is he going to retire? I mean, he just had that press conference yesterday and he got pissed and was dropping F-bombs about talking about his future and basically saying nothing yet. He's like, I'll let you. Don't you think I would have told you if I'd made up my mind or something like that? But obviously he used much harsher language. So I don't know. I mean, I would think he has to come back. One, just to not end on a dud like he did. Two, he ruined his life by coming back last year. And now you tell me post that, okay, now I'll call it quits. He ain't going out like that either. So I would think he's coming back. As to where, question mark. But
Vegas. People are saying Vegas.
I mean, people are saying Vegas, but at the same time, it's almost kind of like, why there? He doesn't have a good defense there. I mean, he'll have a Devontae Adams, a Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow would be lethal with Tom Brady.
Hunter Renfrow would become the new Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, whatever slot guy. So yeah, he would.
The defense is the question mark. They do have Max Crosby, who's nasty, but the rest of defense is
Chandler Jones. Granted, took a step back, but at least got some Tom Brady familiarity there.
True.
I mean, yeah, but I'm sure he wants to go back with Josh McDaniels just because that's his guy and that's who he ran the offense immaculately with. But I mean, I guess where else would he go?
Tennessee. Let's go. Let's go. Tighten up. Come on, baby. Treylon Burks, Robert Woods. What a killer duo.
I mean, he would have the best running back in the game, which
hell yeah.
A decent defense.
A pretty good defense. The best run defense in the league. One of them.
Yeah.
Pretty good defense when healthy.
Again, it's the weapons though. Tennessee. Let's go.
Not too exciting. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. Then.
Yes.
Move on for Mr. Brady. Let's talk about the games this weekend. We had some good ones. So the Jags-Chiefs game was competitive, was good. Yeah. What we hoped it would be. It almost turned out to be the exact same, and it basically did. The exact same outcome as the first time they played each other, 27-17. Jags kick a field goal just because time's running out, and they want to try an onside kick.
And they want to cover the spread.
And they had to cover the spread, of course, just to piss me off. But they were down 10 with a minute left. And they're like, okay, let's go ahead and kick the field goal, see if we can get an onside kick, which was recoverable. I don't know if you watch this or not. The onside kick, normally they take a couple of small bounces and they pop up real high.
Yeah.
And so everyone's waiting on that one big bounce at the end. This one didn't do that. This thing was side spinning and just wiggling around the ground, and no one was there. I don't know. Kadarius Toney finally fell on it and he bobbled it. Like he didn't even land cleanly on it. And I was like, why is no one there to recover that? It's very recoverable. So I was kind of frustrating because I think that would have been wild if they'd have gotten that. That would have been wild
because it would have had what 38 seconds. Is that how much time was left on the clock?
It's close to a minute. I mean, it was. I think it was close to a minute.
It was less than that, but anyway.
30. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter if you're at the 40-yard line.
I mean, it was Jags played their hearts out. I mean, they played pretty dang well. It was so gut-wrenching because they had some chances. They would drive down and then just stall or whatever it may be. And it's just like, it's just like that one more play, that one more whatever it may be. And then they could have taken control, especially with a hobbled Mahomes. I mean, shoot. But Chad Henne was the one who led him for that 98-yard drive. I'm watching this like, Chad freaking Henne? But what was it last year or 2 years ago when Chad Henne led it against like the Browns in the playoffs? Was that it, or the regular season game?
Chad Henne, they went for it on 4th down, I think, and he
ran it
a pass to put the game away.
Oh, I thought he ran it, but maybe you're right. I'm thinking of a different play, but anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he came in, led the longest drive of the game for its score. I mean, that
was stupid. That was just dumb. I mean, the whole thing was frustrating. If you're the Jags, you're just like, you absolutely cannot let that happen.
Really? Chad Henne? Really?
Yeah, he used to be a Jag too, right? Even worse.
That's true.
So that was frustrating, but it was 25 seconds when Riley Patterson kicked that field goal. So it was actually less time than I realized.
Boom.
But still, enough time for you to give it a shot, you know?
Yeah, at least heat it, huck it. Just don't do what the Cowboys did with lining Zeke up as the center. No one else. It was reminiscent. So let's just jump to that game. I know that's Sunday, but whatever. I mean, that play was reminiscent of the play that the Colts ran against the Patriots that one year where they just have two play again, just someone hiking the ball on the quarterback. The defense is kind of like, okay, and then they just sack him right away. At least he didn't get sacked right away, but yikes.
Yeah, just weird, man. We will get to that game a little bit later. But so the Jags are done. Chiefs move on. Mahomes, high ankle sprain. That was scary, obviously. He was very frustrated on the sideline, did not want to go get x-rays, wanted to get back in the game. The guy is absolutely a gamer. He will be fine to play this week. They're at home again, but could be a little bit hobbled, and he'll definitely be very heavily taped up. So not 100%. I don't think he wants to use that as an excuse at all, so you're not going to hear it from him or anybody in the Chiefs, but something to keep an eye on for sure.
True. Yeah, for sure.
Travis Kelce was like insane. He was insane.
Yeah.
14 catches. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
2 touchdowns.
I mean, we called it 2 touchdowns. They were all for like 7 yards. They weren't for any yardage, but
doesn't matter.
It didn't matter. Move the chains, you know?
Yeah. That's who Chad Henne looked for every time. Like, rightfully so. Rightfully so.
7. Travis Kelce, 7 more. Travis Kelce, 7 more, you know?
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. Okay, moving on. Eagles, Giants. Wow, this thing got out of hand early, man. This
was the one not close game. This was
not even remotely. I mean,
gross.
It was. I mean, before you blinked, it was 14-0, and then at halftime, it's 28-0. You're just like, good grief! Eagles, all the question marks you had about them coming into this game, and like, they were stumbling to the finish line here, and they're backing into the playoffs, and what's going to happen?
Nope, they're fine. Nope. Well, it's also that the Giants finally ran out of gas. It was the Giants team that we expected all year to finally show up, and this is what we expected. Well, I mean, maybe not expected now, but this is the team we expected to see earlier.
Yeah.
So, okay, Giants season still a success, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I was listening to ESPN on the radio, and they were talking like, well, do you now question like Dable and, you know, his big game capabilities? Like,
how could you possibly?
If you line these two teams up, it's like, dude, it is not even close on paper. Like,
if you had a draft, if you put every player in both these teams together and said, all right, we're playing kickball and we're going to pick the teams. Saquon Barkley would be the only player in the top 10 that was taken from either of these teams.
Yes.
From the Giants.
Yeah.
Every other player would be an Eagle. I mean, there's no talent on the Giants at all. So what do you mean is it a success? They made the playoffs, which was shocking. They won a playoff game on the road, which is shocking, to a division winner, which is shocking. I mean, shut up with it. How on earth could you question Dable? There's no one on this team.
And they, his big game. Like, dude, he was going in with a peewee team against the varsity.
Who was that? Greenberg? Who was that?
Who was it?
You go win a football game. You go coach in the NFL and win a football game. Whoever it was. Unless it was Bill Belichick, who would never say that. Unless it was Bill Belichick, I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it. Anyway,
get out of here, Rex. If it's Rex Ryan, get out of here, Rex Ryan. You go win a big game. Shut
wasn't
up.
Rex Ryan. Wasn't get up. But yeah, so the Eagles in the championship game hosting. They are the lone team that's different in the Final Four this year.
Do you mean the other three were in the championships last year? That's what
you're
saying? Yeah. Rams, Niners, Bengals, Chiefs.
Eagles.
Chiefs are going to want revenge, man. They got the Bengals coming to face them in KC again. This is what happened last year. The Bengals went on a run on the road and started knocking people off.
Yep.
Last year it wasn't even a division winning Bengals team, so they had to come to Tennessee first. But yeah. Well, maybe they did win the division. Were they
did win the division. They
were 4.
They won the division. They hosted the Raiders. Then they went to the Titans.
They were 4 last year. That's right.
To the Chiefs. Yeah.
So yeah. Bengals took care of business against the Bills, man, in Buffalo. It was snowing the whole game.
This was I'm not texting you. First of all, I had 45 minutes free in the house to myself right when the game was starting. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I have the house to myself for 45 minutes. No kids in the house. My wife was in the house. It was just me and the dog. We were watching the game, and it was spectacular.
Glorious. Go check out the Pool Boys Instagram account. You'll see some live footage of that.
But yeah, I mean, the Bengals, those first 2 drives, they just made it look freaking easy. Just marched down the field in the terrible conditions. I mean, Joe Burrow was just ungodly, in control of everything. I mean, I think, and this may be a hot take, this may be an overreaction, whatever it may be. I think Josh Allen has reached his ceiling, and Burrow has surpassed him. And I honestly think he's probably, it's like Mahomes, then Burrow, then Allen, I think.
In the AFC.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. Well, we talked about that last week. We kind of had that as a little bit of a debate because I said the same thing. I said Burrow's better quarterback. Allen's got the X factor with his legs, but I don't think Allen's a better quarterback. I don't think you line them up. I don't think I'd rather have Allen under center than Burrow.
I just think you follow Burrow's eyes and his vision and his decision making. It's spectacular, and he's still able to deliver it, pretty accurately. And I was watching, with Josh Allen, he was missing a good amount of throws, and how frustrated. And I know everyone's making a huge deal of Stephon Diggs now, but even in the beginning of the game, before it was, getting pretty dire for them, even in the beginning, he was expressing his frustration. I remember there's one where, Allen had to scramble a teeny bit. Diggs beat his guy, and all he had to do was just kind of loft it to him, and he overthrew him. And Diggs is just kind of like throwing it. And this is in the first quarter. And Diggs is just like throwing his hands up, like, come on. Like, because it was a touchdown if he had got him. So it was, I don't know, just something. The second half of the year, Josh Allen was not of his spectacularness, not superhero.
He goes back and forth, man. He has some of those games where he'll run for like 70 yards, and every time he takes off, you're like, this could be it. I mean, he could just be gone, and he's so big and physical anyway. And then because he runs, he opens up the defense, and all of a sudden he just carves you up, and you're like, dang, this guy is lethal,
Mm-hmm.
But then he has games. He's also prone to mistakes, and he has been his whole career. The difference now is that he's running more, and he's got weapons that keep the defense honest. But he's been prone to mistakes his whole career. That was the knock on him coming out, was He'll throw picks, he'll throw a lot of picks. And so I don't know who that compares him to, maybe it's
Brett
weirdly
Favre.
More like Brett Favre type, where you're like, the guy is gonna make plays that maybe no one else can make, but he's also gonna make some bad decisions or whatever.
Well, there was even a couple where where I thought these were both fumbles. Like, he was getting pressure and he tried like a shovel pass that was going to nobody. I was like, that's a fumble, but they called it a pass. And then there was another one where he got nailed when they had it back here.
Yep.
I mean, those could have easily been the other way.
Kudos to the Bengals defense for showing up, though,
Yeah.
And same with the Chiefs, I would say. The Chiefs defense looked so much better than they have most of the season. This is a team that has been gashed by passing offenses. That defense showed up. And it's a big theme for all 4 of these games. And I think you talk about it every year, defense wins championships, but like in all 4 of these games, the defenses are what the difference was.
Mm-hmm.
The defenses stepped up, played better than they had all year long. When these defenses get locked in, all of a sudden, these teams, they win,
Yeah.
Bengals defense holding the Bills to 10 points is like crazy good.
Yeah.
To get pressure on Allen every play is crazy good, you know? So that's how you win.
Mm-hmm. That is. I mean, and I was reading an article saying like the Bills, we overrated them all year. That's obviously you have two generational talents in not generational, but two spectacular talents in Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. But after that, Gabe Davis was one of the more hyped up players this year, especially fantasy wise. I was like, this is Gabe Davis's breakthrough year. I was like, no, he
big disappointment in fantasy.
Very disappointing fantasy year, just a year overall. And like, yeah, he has the capability to make big plays, but he's not the best route runner. He's not, the most consistent. And then obviously the running game, when your lead back is Devin Singletary, they keep picking guys in the second, third round to be that guy, and they're not. They're okay, but they're not lead back guys. Yeah. So, and then they talked about the defense, obviously, when they thought when they signed Von Miller, it's just kind of like an icing on the cake, or just kind of like an extra bonus thing. But no, actually, he was a linchpin, and they needed that. And once he was gone, it was a big difference. So,
yep.
Yeah.
They got some looking in the mirror to do, for sure. I don't know what you shake up there. I think getting another weapon would be a priority. Maybe you can trade away a young Gabe Davis who's got all the potential in the world for someone who's a little more proven and make a run now, before you run out of cap space. I don't know. But they've got some thinking to do, because the Bengals aren't going anywhere. This is a young team. Yeah. And the Chiefs aren't going anywhere because Mahomes can play with anybody. So you're going to be facing these guys for the next decade. What do you need to do to get a shot at winning? They thought this was their year, and it wasn't. So,
oh yeah, sorry. Going back to the Brady topic, so it was kind of like, all right, well, where's Brady going to go? He ain't going to want to go in the AFC East because he got to face Josh Allen. Do you think he really wants to go to Oakland, where he's got to play Mahomes twice?
Vegas.
So like, where do you want to go?
True. Yeah, going to Vegas. That's true. And then, of course, if the Sean Payton maybe to Denver thing happens, you're like, oh, geez. I don't think you want any part of that either.
Maybe Tennessee is looking better and better, man.
AFC South is pretty weak. All you got to take out old Trev. And honestly, you could just lose both of those games and win all the rest of them and be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Then again, the NFC South, as bad as it gets. They were as bad as it gets, so you could just stay in Tampa.
Well, when he first got there, they had Drew Brees, but then after that, wow.
Okay, so Bengals taking care of business. They're heading to Kansas City, taking on the Chiefs. We will preview that game on Thursday's episode. We got the Niners holding court against the Cowboys. This was a defensive game, man. This was a field goal fest. This was a defense. Brett Maher missing PATs. Some things don't change in the playoffs. They got it done. Niners got it done. No passing touchdown from Brock Purdy. So he was tested, as we thought he might be. Still got the W though, and played well enough to win, and didn't cost him the game, which I think is most important.
Didn't turn it over, still made some good throws. It's just, the Cowboys defense second half of the year was great, maybe second or last third of the year. And they stepped up big, but they just Niners made a couple more plays than the Cowboys did. And the Cowboys' biggest thing was turnovers. Once again, Dak kind of went back to week 18 Dak, where he turned it over twice, two key ones. And those were the difference makers. And that's what he's getting thrown under the bus for by his teammates, by his own Twitter, by his Cowboys Twitter page. Everyone's throwing him under the bus. But you can't do that. Or going to the NFC Championship game, you can't turn that ball over. And that's exactly what they did. And then losing Tony Pollard right before the half, that honestly looks
broken
like
leg.
It looked like the same thing as Mahomes, but obviously a lot worse because they're saying he has a broken leg. So that was a bummer.
Yeah. That's not good. I'm watching the replay of one of his picks, one of Dak's picks here, and it ain't pretty. That's for sure. Yeah. It looked like Gallup kind of gave up on the route, probably miscommunication on an option route. That's probably what it was. But either way, you can't do it. You got to be on the same page as your receivers, or throw to somebody else. If you can't get on the same page, don't throw that ball.
And Micah Parsons showing his age and a little immaturity, basically saying like the defense did its job and then we just turn it. Like, you can't do that. I mean, he's right. The defense did do its job, but you can't do that to your teammate.
Okay, Zach Wilson.
Yeah, right.
Do you feel like the offense let him down? The defense only gave up 6 points, and he's like, nope. Okay.
Did not let them down at all.
So we got the Niners. Obviously, very balanced team, very strong defense. And that was the important thing here, is I think to understate that we have understated so far, is the Niners defense is legit. So Niners going to Philly. I mean, these are two very strong defenses, two very capable offenses. This is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be
It
really interesting. This is the game we deserved. This is the Philly team that we wanted. I think if we knew they were going to be good, we knew the Niners were going to be solid. So, yeah.
I think that, the Niners and the Bengals have the longest current winning streak right now, because the Niners are at like 12.
Yeah.
Because they were 3-4, and now they're, whatever, in 4
13
now.
and 4.
Yeah. And the Bengals too. I think they were 4-4 at the same time. So
yeah,
pretty crazy.
These teams are on fire. Yeah. So I'm excited to see it, and we'll preview it again on Thursday. It's gonna be fun to talk about the games to figure out what's gonna happen here. But I love this time of year, man.
It's the
playoff
best.
season. Playoff season's fun,
especially like a playoff game in the snow. Like that was awesome.
I will tell you the coolest part of that game for me, and I loved this. I told my brother about this too because we were watching the game together, but he missed the first touchdown. I was like, when they show the PAT and you're looking back on the field, it's covered in snow. You can see all the footprints from the previous plays, and it's just the plays. There's only like a few sets of footprints. So it's like you get to see them draw it up on the whiteboard, Because by the end, the field is like covered in footprints everywhere. But in the beginning, it's just wherever they've run. And so you can see like, that's where Jamar Chase went to catch the ball and touchdown. I see it right now. There it is.
I just see the constant reminder of the footprints in the end zone.
Someone get out there and just rub your feet across the ground.
Well, I mean, sorry, going to bring it back to a Patriots game. But, when Brady's obviously the Tuck Rule game playing against the Raiders, that was insane amounts of snow.
Yeah.
And talking about when Vinatieri was kicking both of his field goals, one to send it to overtime and then two in overtime, like the first 20 seconds of the play clock are just players come to kick out like a space where he can kick it, just kicking the snow away with their feet. It's just ridiculous. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Just, you do what you got to do just to make it work.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, let's take a look at the NFL.com playoff challenge update here.
Yeah.
This is shaking some things up, man, because a lot of people had bills. Everyone, I think, had some bills,
I mean, I feel like pretty heavy. Diggs was kind of like the no-brainer for wide receiver. So it's like, well, now he gone.
Yep.
I unfortunately went with James Cook for just thinking longevity and not picking a Bengal. And that got me a whopping 1 point. So that was fun. So I'm still doing all right technically in the standings. I'm only a few points behind in third place, but
the problem that it doesn't come until later though. I mean, you don't realize you're in trouble until the end. And that's how this game works. Is like now that you're going to restart at 1x players and other people are going to have 3x, you're just going to get completely smoked.
Yeah. So that's a dagger.
So you're really pulling for chaos. I think you're pulling for Eagles, Chiefs, but I've got 3 Chiefs. I'm the only one that's got a bunch of Chiefs though.
Yeah.
So there's not a great outcome for you, but probably Eagles Chiefs, I would say.
Probably. I could be hurting.
I think you're going to see people pile on the Bengals, which would make sense. They look really damn.
Well, do you want me to just spoil my strategy right now?
Okay. Whoa, here we go. Hot take.
Okay, so yes,
I can't wait for you to change your mind on Thursday's podcast.
I know, right now I'm locked in because I know I'm pretty much lost here, so I'm just gonna go for it. So I lost Josh Allen, lost James Cook, lost Stephon Diggs, and I lost Tyler Bass.
I know you're going Brock Purdy. Yep.
So I went Brock Purdy, Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, Evan McPherson, and that's all I needed. Yes.
Yeah.
So my thing was nobody has the other Niners. So hopefully they make it all the way. And then with McPherson, you have Robbie Gould. So I was like, okay, give me someone else. I'm sure no one has Evan McPherson. So I basically went with people that nobody picked.
Drader's got McPherson, I think.
Right.
But yeah, so that's a great strategy. That's the right move, I think, because it may not pan out for you, but if it does, it's probably your only hope if the Niners make that run.
Because the reason why, so like you said, well, why wouldn't you have gone Eagles just in that case? The reason being is I already have Christian McCaffrey. So if I'm going Eagles, I'm basically saying I think the Eagles are going to win, which would knock McCaffrey out. So then I'd have to replace him after I already have a big bonus with him. Yeah. So as opposed to if I just go I'm just going all in on the 49ers. So if they lose this game, I'm done, which is fine. I just went for it. But if they win, I have a fighting chance just because of that reason.
So mine is interesting, and I'm curious to get your take on it. I've got Chiefs and Niners pretty heavy here, and of course, I feel not a spoiler necessarily, but I'm nervous about the Bengals, the Bengals and the Chiefs. Okay. But at the same time, like I'm getting 3x points on Mahomes and Jarrett McKinnon and Travis Kelce. So I've got to keep them in there. It makes no sense to bench them. So I've got one spot to fill, which is Stephon Diggs. And I looked through the lineup, same as you. And Debo was the first name that came to mind because I thought then I'm really just basically completely locked in on those two teams. I still have Jamar Chase in case the Bengals make it through, but otherwise I'd be all those two teams. I thought probably going to be a lot of people jumping on Debo. There are already a couple people because they lost their first, like Justin Jefferson, first round. They jumped on A.J. Brown of the Eagles.
Kyle jumped on A.J. Brown.
Then I'm thinking, well, shoot, if I get A.J. Brown now, I'm only just canceling out those picks. It's not going to help me that much.
I mean, honestly, you could go with Juju in the sense that you go all in on Chiefs.
True.
Because then you'll have Chiefs Niners. All you'd have to replace is Jamar Chase. And I know Juju's not necessarily the flashiest one because he's not, you can't guarantee how many points he's going to get. But I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm leaning on right now. I've already made the pick, and I think I'm going to stick with it. And I'll tell you my strategy.
Okay.
I'm going with Devontae Smith. And for a couple reasons. One, he's just as capable as A.J. Brown to be the leading receiver. And he showed this week he was the leading receiver for them this week. So, two, no one else has him, at least not yet. And so it could be kind of like a dark horse play. And three, I'd like to have at least one player carry over to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, if I lose Jamar, fine, I've still got all the Chiefs. But if I lose all the Chiefs, at least I've still got Jamar. If I lose the 49ers and I hadn't gone with an Eagle, I'd have nobody there, you know? And I'm kind of like, I feel like, because I'm still very much in play, and I'm near the top 3 right now, and I've got all these Chiefs and Niners and stuff. I'm kind of like, man, I just need to play it a little bit safe, I guess, you know, which is kind of like, if Devontae doesn't get in there, then that's good for me, big picture, because then I have 3 Niners playing in the Super Bowl. If he does, though, at least I got one guy getting double points.
So I'm currently in third with 354. Nick Drader's in second with 355. Kyle, who finally joined the group, I guess he was just sitting out there in no man's land. He's actually in first with 366. So you're in sixth, but that doesn't mean much because you have 343. And again, you've only lost one guy to your multiplier. So yeah, you're right there.
And Kyle has lost Josh Allen, Saquon, and Tyler Bass. So he's got to replace 3 players.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are very impactful. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna get overtaken by Mahomes.
Yep.
Immediately.
Immediately.
So it's just a matter of like,
honestly, it's Drader, man. I mean, the fact that he's got all the Bengals, still got Miles Sanders. All he had to replace was Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
So
hey, that's the only one I had to replace too.
Yeah, so I'm saying like it's
me and Drader.
Honestly, between you and Drader right now, just because of that fact.
Whoever wins out of the AFC, if it's the Bengals, it's Drader. If it's the Chiefs, it's me.
And then Brock Purdy is just going to carry me to a championship. Dark horse, dark horse.
If the Chiefs and Bengals both lose, Brock Purdy's going to win it for you.
Yep, there it is.
I will be honest though. Like when Mahomes got hurt, I was like, oh crap.
Honestly,
I'm stuck with him too, right? I'm locked.
That was honestly one of the first things I thought. I was like, "Oh, Kemper's gonna be so mad."
I'm locked into him too because he's getting 3x now. Like I would change him out if it mattered. If it, just to be like, hey, I'd rather have Burrow or I'd rather have Jalen or somebody. But like,
can't do it.
It'd be so dumb to do that now. Even if he has an off game, he still gets 3x.
Even if he has 10 points, you still get 30. So
yeah.
Okay.
I know. So I've got 343. Kyle's at the top with 366, so it's all bunched up now. It's all pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, you're in sixth, which is only behind by 23 points, and I'm in third, and I'm down by like 10. So it's not like, all right, so you're leaning towards Devontae. You haven't locked it in. I'm about 98% sure I'm going all Niners, just saying all in, pushing all my chips in. So we'll see.
I think there's going to be a lot of Debo and a lot of A.J. Brown. I think Diggs is going to get replaced by one of those 2 guys, most likely.
You'll probably see a lot of Hurts too, taking over.
I think you'll see a good amount of Hurts. You'll probably see a Purdy as well, because I think people are going to try and play counter and think that they're being smart.
Yeah, you just basically pick the NFC quarterback you think is going to win, because at this point, with you and Drader having Mahomes, it doesn't make any sense to pick those guys.
Yeah.
Or pick those guys and get less points.
Pick them and lose to me.
Yes, do it. They're going to lose to me when my Niners.
We'll see. This is like, so you remember when we were first making these picks, the reason I took Mahomes was like, he's a lock to make it to the championship round, but I don't know if he's a lock to make the Super Bowl,
Right.
And it's exactly what happened. It was like, we knew that Allen and Burrow, only one of them could make it. And you're just like, I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
If you'd have known early, I would have rather had Burrow. If I'd have known early, I would have just taken Burrow because you'd gotten to play the first week and you'd be sitting at triple right now.
Over Mahomes. Yeah.
I
thought you're like, well, Leonard had Burrow over Allen. I'm like, no shit. But
obviously. Mahomes. I mean, over Mahomes because you would have gotten points that first week as well.
Right. The first
I'd
point.
rather have Mixon. I'd rather have Mixon over McKinnon too because that same reasoning.
Mixon actually had a decent game too.
He did.
Douche.
You're regretting that one, aren't you? I tried to
get you to pick him up. I will not ever regret that.
He got you the championship last year. What is wrong with you?
It wasn't because of him. He was just.
It wasn't entirely because of him.
He was just there. He was getting like 5 points each game. Whatever. Go back.
Hate.
I do hate.
5 points is something we wish we'd have gotten in the dirty dozen.
Playoff
drops. Man, I feel like if I was Vegas, if I was the house right now, I would be.
I'd hire you.
Yeah, good grief. Okay, so we'll go through these real quick, but. Most receiving yards in the Jags-Chiefs game. We had Travis Kelce, Juju, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones in the field. You went with Kelce. I went with Kirk. Kelce was the right pick. Well done, sir. Over-under passing touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence. We both went over 1.5. He had 1. Under. Well, Jerick McKinnon scored a touchdown. We both said no, and he did not, so we got that one correct. Well, Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts combined for 3+ passing touchdowns. You said yes. I said no. Jalen had 2. Daniel Jones had none.
Damn it.
I think I exactly said that. And boom. I get that one right. So far, we're looking pretty good, really. 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, whatever. We're looking pretty good. 2 out of 4. Then it becomes like a bloodbath. We get like 2 more correct the entire time. Who was the most rushing yards in the Giants, Eagles? Saquon, Daniel Jones, Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts. You went Daniel Jones, which was hilarious. I went Saquon, who at least led his team in rushing. And it was the field. Kenneth Gainwell was leading.
Gainwell.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Miles Sanders was second. It was some garbage time there for Gainwell, I think. Does Jalen Hurts score a rushing touchdown? We both said yes, and he did. Who has the most receiving yards in the Bengals-Bills? We both went Jamar. He was close. He had 61, I think. But the leader was Dawson Knox.
Oh, jeez.
With 65, who would have been in the field. Over-under passing yards, Burrow and Allen combined at 544. They combined at 507. We both went over. The answer was under. Will there be 2+ touchdowns scored between Jamar Chase and Stephon Diggs? Jamar caught a second touchdown, and they overturned it.
Yeah, that was a crappy call. That was a catch.
It was not a catch. When he got to the ground, that ball was fumbling all over the place. I wish it was a catch, but it was not a catch. So they did not get over 2. We both said yes. The answer was no. Over-under passing touchdowns for Brock Purdy. We both felt obligated to go over 1.5 because he's thrown 2 every game, and he didn't throw any. So,
and he didn't throw any.
Will Micah Parsons record a sack? Felt certain this would happen. It did not. We both said yes. And then over-under 10.5 touches for Debo. We both said under. Thankfully, he got 8 touches in the game.
Whew.
4 out of 12.
4 and 12. So I'm going to make them on Thursday.
You're making the props.
You're done. You're done. You got your new job with Caesars, but no good for the Fold the Cheese podcast. So no thank you.
If you're playing along at home, I would love to hear how you're doing.
Yeah, right.
You can't be doing worse than us. I've got
Kyle,
10 out of 24.
I got 10 out of 12 this week, guys.
I crushed it. No, I really did. I wrote them down. See?
See? Look at it. Fair.
Yeah, so I've got 10 out of 24 currently, and you have 9 out of 24.
9 out of 24.
So
I'm
bad.
I'm 1/8. That's sweet. No.
So bad.
3/8.
1/8.
3/8.
3/8. Yeah.
3/8.
3/8.
So what is
375
that?
average.
Yeah, 375. That's not bad.
If you were baseball, you'd be doing pretty well.
I mean, Ted Williams, flirting with Ted Williams, his average.
Mm-hmm. We had to talk to our son about Ted Williams. Miles, we were talking to him about, because he was asking if anyone was ever cryogenically frozen. And I was like, well, Ted Williams had his head cut off and he was frozen separate from his body.
Yep.
He's like, is it going to work? And it's like, I don't know. I mean, he might be smart. He might be the right.
I thought they stopped it. No, because it was his kids or like his son, someone else. But I thought it's over.
Yeah. He wanted to be cremated, apparently. They're like,
literally the exact opposite. Hey,
he wanted the exact opposite.
Instead of really hot,
we did turn you into pieces. Just 2 of them.
Just 2, not multiple. Just 2. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway,
so
there you have it. There you have it, people.
The AFC Divisional round playoffs. We made it all the way to cryogenics. So we will be previewing the championship games in our next episode. These are some good ones. It is kind of crazy that 3 of the same 4 from last year. Chiefs make their 5th straight. Ridiculous. Bengals on a 3-game winning streak against said Chiefs. Eagles going to show their mettle against the Niners at home. So until next time, keep on folding.
Hold it.